Good evening, folks. Welcome from dark Niceville, Florida. This is your ticker guy, Carl, and I want to talk to you tonight about this thing called the CPI. That's the Consumer Price Index. That is the information that we get from the government that tells us how expensive everything is getting. We've been led to believe that as of last month, it was pretty tame. That report came in without a lot of noise in it. Here's the problem. The Producer Price Index released the day before said that inflation was screaming. In fact, on crude goods, price inflation was up by more than 50% annualized over the last 2 quarters. So how did our Consumer Price Index come in so tame? Well, to be blunt, they cheated. You see, the Bureau of Labor Statistics produces an adjustment once a year. Every year in January, they put an adjustment table together that they're going to use for the remainder of the year that adjusts the raw prices to come up with what they call seasonal adjustments. These seasonal adjustments over the last 10 years have been in the neighborhood of 0.2 to 0.3%. But for some odd reason, this year, they're 0.6. That means that our government is intentionally understating inflation by 0.6 minus 0.3 to 0.2, or anywhere from 0.3 to 0.4 of 1% per month. Now, to understand why this is important, of course, you have to realize that there are 12 months in a year, so the actual understatement of inflation is anywhere from 3.6 to 4.8%. Recomputed under the standards from last year, inflation was in prices for consumers was annualized at an almost 9% rate, 8.4%. So let me ask you a question, folks. Do you really believe that food and energy prices only went up by 3 or 4% annualized last month? I don't. You shouldn't either. You go to the grocery store. Over the last few months, I have seen milk go from $3 a gallon to over $4. Eggs go from 99 cents to almost $2 a carton of 12. Gasoline is now well over $3 a gallon where we are. It was in the mid-2s last year. You can take your pick. Go down the grocery aisle and you will see it as well. Toilet paper costs more. Paper towels cost more. Plastic bags cost more. Of course, plastic bags have oil in them. Cheese is $4 a pound now instead of $3. I can go down the list of every grocery item that I have purchased, and I can look at the size of my grocery bill over the last 12 months, and I can tell you it's up closer to 20%. I don't know where people get the idea that this is funny, but, you know, besides the fact that this overstates growth, because inflation is subtracted off GDP, so if we have a low inflation number, we can take it off GDP and make our growth number look better. This is one way that the government avoids declaring that there has been a recession. Of course, you can't spend price increases. It's the exact opposite of GDP. But there's an even bigger problem, and it's one that bites everybody who is currently on fixed income. If you're a fixed income American, somebody who is collecting Social Security and dependent upon that, you are going to get screwed. In fact, you've been getting screwed. President Bill Clinton rejiggered this statistical series when he got in office. He changed the historical CPI formula into something that more suited his needs, so he could claim there was very low inflation during the 1990s. And now it appears that George Bush's Bureau of Labor Statistics has done it again. You caught it here first, folks, but I can't take credit for it. Hat tip to bigpicture.typepad.com. Go over there and read the whole thing. I was given this as a hat tip. I went and checked it out. It's real. Folks, you need to get on the phone and call your congresspeople. You need to tell them you're not going to tolerate this. Your grandmother, your grandfather being thrown under the bus so the government can look better. Electing a Democrat will not solve this problem. Don't be so foolish as to think this is all George Bush's fault. Bill Clinton did the exact same thing. You need to tell them to cut this out, and while you're at it, watch the other videos in this section under user presentations on tickerforum.org. There's another one there on the reason that you're going to pay $4 a gallon for gasoline before Memorial Day, probably $5 before the end of the year. It has to do with the fact that in addition to defrauding the American public with CPI figures, we're also defrauding the world by how we bank and how we allow our banks to carry those assets that they have other than their real values. So folks, are you going to sit there like a bunch of sheep and get shorn? The government thinks you are. Your congresspeople, your senators, they think you will. They think you will sit there and drink your beer tonight instead of getting on the phone tomorrow. They don't think you'll send them a letter, a fax. I don't think it's going to happen. They don't think that come November you will vote based upon what they do now, before they go off for their August recess, and you won't see them again until, of course, after the elections, when they have either 2 or 4 more years or 6 more years to screw you in any way that they feel like it. It's your choice, folks. You can either sit on your hands and watch your fuel costs go up, watch your food costs go up, and watch the government understate all of it. And then when fixed income matters to you and wages matter to you, and by the way, if you're a union worker, your wages are probably indexed to inflation as well. You're being screwed. Systematically screwed. Time to wake up, folks. The alarm's ringing, and it is up to you as Americans. You're either going to sit back and take it, or you're going to get off your butts, call Congress, and tell them it stops now.